Last night I used this handy dandy cutoff saw to chop up an old Chevy rear end that I'm going to make a stand pipe and then have the faucet in the center of the rear end where the center section would usually go. Um, Obviously I used my pressure washer. Here's the old Chevy rear end that I used. I'm taking the nuts off now. I'm getting ready to pull the center out. Last night I cut these two guys off, and boy, the sun's so bad I can't really see what I'm taking, but anyhow, they're there. The brake drums and the axles, I just cut them in half and then pulled them out. And over there is a early Ford banjo type rear end, half of it. I'm going to mount that to the ground. Then this whole setup's going to go over that PVC pipe right there with the faucet on it. The reason I'm going to do this is to get a faucet up in the center of the rear end housing with no third section in it, and then on top of that I'm going to mount a rim to wrap the hose up on. That's a PVC, so I'm going to go pipe from there up. Since it's buried through my slab, I got to be real careful not to snap it off when I'm pulling on the hose. That's why I'm doing a lot of this. And I got this old stuff laying around thanks to my friend here in town. Gave me the half the banjo. He's a Ford guy. He had a bunch of them laying around, and he also had a Chevy rear end. Since he's 100% Ford, he was more than happy to get rid of it. And so I took that off his hands. Thank him very much, Harley. Okay, I got it set up. I'm going to cut this one end off so that the center of the rear end there is going to have the faucet in it. Then it's going to mount on the top of that guy at that level right there, I think. Might have to cut it twice. Sure don't want to cut it more than that, but I'm going to set it on there and take a look at the height I want. That way I have a faucet right there I can wash my hands under, and I'll have another valve in there that goes up to the hose that'll be on that rim over there mounted on top of everything for the hose. Okay, now I'm in the mock-up stage. I got the lower old Ford banjo rear end half. Then I got the Chevy center section cut to the height I want. I mocked up a pipe, how it's going to be and how the faucet's going to stick out. I just got a little block of wood in there right now. And then between the top of the T, I'm going to put a gate valve so I can adjust the water going out the top. And then I'll have that rim over there sitting up there on top someplace, flanged on, and a hose coming out of it hooked up to the hose for a hose reel to hook it up to. So now I got to make an adapter plate that's going to go on here with a hole in it. And this plate here with the saw, it's going to be close to the wrong size, but I don't have a bigger hole saw, so I'm just going to go with that. Then I'm going to cut this plate down to fit over this, and then I'll take the other housing, weld to this plate, and be able to bolt it down. I've got to be able to assemble this as I go, so it's got to be bolted together. Otherwise I could just weld it up, but I have no way of getting it all put together with the pipes and twisting it and all that stuff. So anyhow, I'm going to make it so it'll unbolt. Anyway, that's where we're at. Okay, back at the yard art again. As you can see here, I made up a plate, and this adapter plate's going to go on there like that. But first, I'm going to put it on here. As you can see, it's a nice fit. I'm going to tap it down with a hammer, and then I'm going to mount it on top of that. I got some bolts over there on the bench with the trusty hammer, my little welder on the top there, and then I'm going to tack it from the top side, get it squared up real good, and then tack it, weld it up a little bit. I'll weld it more when I get it, when I'm sure that's what I want to do. So that's where I'm at now. Well, I'm still in the mock-up stage, so I got it set next to the pipe that it's going to go over. You can see the white PVC sticking there. And then I got the rim mocked up on the top with just an old hose on it. So, and then I got the faucet coming out. I'm going to put a valve right above the faucet inside the pumpkin there on the rear end, and that's going to control the water to the top. And then I think I'm going to put a a double elbow and slot in the back connecting to the pipe so I can hook up to it. So I'm getting it mocked up. I marked the caulking, so I'm going to grind that away so this thing sits flat. It's now sitting over the PVC with the pipe sticking up. Sorry about the thumb. Let me show you how that lifts off of there. So I got to trim that right there so it sits flush. Then I'm going to screw this in tight to this fitting and then glue it on. That'll give me the height I want coming up to this point right here, which I'll build up from there as I put it all together. But I got to get that ground off, that glued on, and then those holes opened up a little bit on the ones I'm going to use, and then get ready to anchor that down to there. Okay, I got that all ground off. Now I'm gonna prep the pipe. Obviously, you guys know the drill. Use the primer and the good stuff. I got this fitting all tightened in. That's gonna squeeze down on there. So that's the next step. So what I've done is I've drilled out. There was a Zerk fitting here. I don't know if you can see the hole or not, but I drilled a hole to match it up. There was a Zerk fitting under there. So now any water that accumulates in this thing will drain out right there. Also, down here on the bottom, I ground a notch so that any water that builds up underneath it can drain out through that little slot. Okay, I'm all set up. Started to drill a hole. There's my beautiful DeWalt. I started one hole, so now it's all up in the right place. The pipe's tightened down, glued on. Sticking out the top. I can still remove everything, so I'm not binding myself up yet. I got one done. I won't bore you with every one of them, but boy, that thing's going to be really nice. I got 4 more to go, so I got my air hose out, and that's what I'm using right there. Those little boys, the Hiltis, they work great. Anyway, there we go. Okay, going a little farther here, you can see that I got all this put together, all indexed, all tightened down. The last thing I did was tighten it on that top piece there, holding a big wrench on the pipe that goes to the PVC and tightening with the smaller one. That way I don't twist the PVC and break it off. And I removed the gate valve guts so that I can slide that over the top of everything. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause this. I'm going to slide that over and show you. Okay. You don't want to see that ugly face. So now I got it slid over. That is where the pipe's going to come out for the faucet. The valve, the gate valve will go back in there, go up through the top. And then this little guy here will screw in there. And then my hose will mount to that and go up around my hose reel.